Welcome back. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on NewsX. Our big focus this hour: an Indian flag commercial vessel has come under attack in the Red Sea, once again highlighting growing security concerns in one of the world's busiest maritime trade routes. The cargo vessel MSV Faiz Noor Olia was hit by a projectile about 30 nautical miles south of Yemen's Hodeida port. The impact caused the ship to capsize and eventually sink. All 14 crew members, including 13 Indian nationals and one Yemeni sailor, were rescued safely by Yemeni authorities and received medical assistance. The Indian government has confirmed that all Indian crew members are safe. India has strongly condemned the attack, calling it an unprovoked assault on an Indian flag vessel. Yemen's internationally recognized government has blamed the Iran-backed Houthi rebels for the strike, although the Houthis have not officially claimed responsibility. The attack comes amidst renewed threats to commercial shipping in the Red Sea, a crucial global trade artery, and is likely to raise fresh concerns over the safety of merchant vessels operating in the region. Air Commodore Sanjeev Medirata, former Indian Air Force officer, joins us live. Major General Ashwini Sivach, defense expert, is live with us. Captain Shyam Kumar, former Indian Navy officer, also joins the broadcast. Captain Kumar, let me begin with you first. This latest instance just shows us how turbulent and volatile the waters continue to be. What do you make of this incident, and also how India now has taken it up officially as well?
Thank you, the giant son of Varuna. It's a very, very bad news for India. We have lost a ship, Noor Olia. It was a mechanized sailing vessel sailing through these waters of so-called contested waters of Bab al-Mandeb, where Houthis have so-called put a blockade. Blockade is not a phenomena which can be done by a small force, naval force like Houthi, but they are claiming to do so for Yanbu port of Saudi Arabia, from where the alternative oil routes have been established for supplying to Asian countries. Now, this 13 crew have been rescued by Coast Guard of the government of Yemen, and at Riyadh, our embassy is looking after it. Yes, we know historically, 2 years back, many ships were attacked. Many of the crew were rescued by Indian ships like INS Kochi, Kolkata, Trikhand, etc. We know our commandos landed there and did a very daredevil operations of rescuing many of the seafarers and instilling the confidence. But it has again happened. Few days back, it had happened in state of Hormuz, and now it is happening in Bab al-Mandeb. Point to note here is that Indian naval presence in this area has been constant. But the sea is very vast, and each and every place. This was 13 nautical miles, almost 20 kilometers of the port of Hodeida, which is under the Houthis' control. And crew has been moved to Mocha, which is under Yemeni government control. The coordination between the navies are important, but you can understand vast sea like this, where the entire operation is concentrated onto getting the ships from Hormuz back to our countries, our ports. It is very difficult for Indian Navy to look at each and every part of the Bab al-Mandeb area. Operation Sankalp has been on from 2019. Our destroyers and frigates have been patrolling in this area independently. They did not come under Prosperity Guardian operation of USA when last year Houthis were to be controlled by UK and USA forces. We operated independently. Operation Urja Sankalp is on at state of Hormuz, from the Oman Gulf of Oman. We are escorting our ships to safe ports of India. You can also understand 2 of Indian ships, Amazon and Rodex, they sailed from Yanbu port of Saudi Arabia on 20th of July. They turned north towards Egypt, and then slightly later, 2 days later, they switched off the AIS and came dark through Bab al-Mandeb. They reached Mangalore and Chennai. This is how these people are actually operating today in Bab al-Mandeb area. These merchant ships are doing their own tactical movements and trying to be darken themselves, switch off their trackers, and take a risk. Again, Indian government has made a very, very, we have made a claim. We protested against this untoward incident which has happened. And DGMA, that Director General Maritime Administration, has been requested to take charge of the intelligence gathering situations and coordination with Indian Navy to squad ships. We are trying our best, but as I said, it's a vast area, and we will have to understand positioning permanently the warships in each and every part of the choke points. It is a difficult operation. Although seafarers Association has demanded for it. Indian Navy, I have patrolled in this area, in Malacca State and as well as these areas. Very difficult. We give our positions, locations. We carry out. I must tell you, India is the leader of task force, combined maritime task force 154 in training and leadership of joint operations carried out by many of the naval countries of this area. And we are doing them. We took over this in February as a leader. And we have been operating in this area for last 20 years or so. But again, there are restrictions at sea. It's a vast ocean, and we will try our best to protect the seafarers in coordination with the DG Shipping, DGMA, and the local government and the diplomatic efforts which are required. Over to you there.
Okay, let me in fact quickly also take that to Major General Sivach, who's also live with us. Major General Sivach, another ship attack, another, of course, incident that should have been avoided, should never have happened. Do you believe this has now been taken up in the correct manner by India? What more can we do to ensure it's a safer maritime region for our seafarers?
Yeah, Uday, 2-3 things stand out. Now, as far as this war is concerned, it has now become very complex. Can you hear me?
Yeah, loud and clear.
So what I was saying is that as far as this war is concerned between US and Iran, it has become a very complex situation now. See, Strait of Hormuz is by and large blocked. No ships are coming. There is also naval blockade which has been put by US on the naval ports of Iran. Their ships are also not coming. But so far, Bab al-Mandeb, which was by and large open, but the situation has changed after Saudis have hit on the Sana'a international port, and thereafter Houthis rebels have become very active, and they have also almost closed the Red Sea route which go through Bab al-Mandeb. Earlier, the Saudi Arabia could send their oil through the east-west pipeline, and through Yanbu they were sending their oil. But as far as other countries are concerned, by and large, Red Sea route was open and Bab al-Mandeb was not being choked. But now it has been choked, and remember what's happening, 20% of oil is blocked in Strait of Hormuz, another 10% which goes through Red Sea again is blocked, so almost 30%. And this is affecting the food, fuel, fertilizer of the whole world, and the economy is being shuttered completely, because if Red Sea route is blocked, that is Bab al-Mandeb, the ships have to take a long detour from basically Cape of Good Hope. It takes about 15 to 20 days extra, and they have to pay about another 30 to 40% more, especially on insurance. So having said that, what is the route? What is the solution? It doesn't seem that there is going to be some solution, because all the ships which are now trying to come through Red Sea, they are vulnerable. They can be hit by a Houthi rebel and they will be denied. Yemen is not in control of Houthi rebel, and therefore there is a chance. Now, can we put our naval ship there? As Captain Kumar was telling, it is very difficult. It's not that easy. So until as the war does not stop, until the situation does not become better, you will find such things happening. And this has affected adversely the economy of the world. Will the war start again? It is anyone's guess. So far, still, the guess is that the war may not start, because US does not want the war to start. The public opinion is against this war. The midterm elections are in November. The popularity of Donald Trump is going down day by day. Iran economy also not very good. Iran also doesn't want this war to start. Possibly only country which wants this war is Israel, but certainly US doesn't want. So the chances are that there is a talks which are going at back-channel diplomacy, been brokered again by Yemen and Pakistan. Maybe that they reach to some sort of agreement. If they don't reach, then we are heading for an economic disaster. You'll find that since Strait of Hormuz is already blocked, and if the Houthi rebel block Bab al-Mandeb, the economy of the world will really have an adverse effect, and we hope it doesn't happen. As far as the Indian ships are concerned, that you can't be very sure if it's an Indian flagship which has been now hit and it has capsized and sunk in the sea. It's a good luck that we could able to save our 13 seafarers. But every time you won't be lucky. If you have to take this route, it's your risk. you can only escort them when they come in Arabian Sea. As far as Red Sea is concerned, it is big no until unless the Houthi rebels claim that Bab al-Mandeb is open. So as on today's situation is fluid, we all hope and pray that some sort of agreement take place between
Yes.
US and Iran, and the both Strait of Hormuz and also Red Sea
Will, will,
open
will
for
that will
the
that be
international
what
traffic.
will finally ensure the safer waters, Commodore Medirata? Will it only be when a final ceasefire occurs between the US and Iran? Till then, will the waters continue to be as volatile as we've seen?
Hello there, and good evening, General and the captains. In fact, it is a little more serious than it looks. It is not just that a ship has sunk and people are safe because of Yemen Coast Guard. We have about 85% of our trade by volume, which is going by sea. So if the sea routes are not safe, regardless of what ship it is, whether it is an Indian flagship or not, in any case, our Indian personnel are there on almost all the ships. We have almost 25% of the workforce in the marine industry, which is Indian. The fact is, our economy gets affected if our routes are not safe. Navy, of course, can have a commanding position in the Arabian Sea, but certainly, as we know, it can't escort each and every marine ship, which is not feasible and not likely. Only in exceptional circumstances do we do it, and we have done it in the past. So the only thing which remains is, first thing, we have to show our condemnation, which we would have already done through the official channels, and then the inquiries and all would take place, and you have to find the culprit, and thereafter take the punitive actions. It is not that we jump into somebody else's war for this emotionally. That is not feasible and not correct. What happens is, in such a case where Iran has still not agreed to this attack, that they have done this attack, though we all know that Houthis are there and they're all asymmetric force patterns and they're all part of that, whether it is Hezbollah, though it's not under the Lebanon government. Similarly, Yemen government also is not able to control these Houthis. And Saudi Arabia has got their own way of handling these people, and they are after them also on their ships. So the fact remains that this route becomes dangerous and unpredictable till the time an agreement is undertaken through Iran and US. Till then, it will be like Hormuz only, and that is the plan. That basically is the plan of blackmailing the whole world, that if you try to fight with us, all we can do is close these two places, and that's what they are doing. And this has a huge cost, especially on a country like India, which has got primarily trading business, as well as we cannot afford to have all these places closed because, like the General said, the other routes are very long and they cost us economically as well as the freight wise, also the insurance cost. But we would have put up our request for investigations and international investigations, and thereafter whatever is required to be done, because you can't just take action unless you have a confirmation. Yeah.
Absolutely. Captain Karve, do you believe it's the Houthis quite clearly who were responsible for this attack? How do we prevent such attacks? How do we keep our seafarers more safe? What more can the Indian government do? What more can the MEA do? And how do you see the situation really evolving in the next fortnight or so?
At this point of time, the Indian government has got no option but to resort to diplomatic channels. And as I see it, with the way US and Iran war is going on, even if US and Iran come to an agreement, the Houthis may not actually follow the rule book. Because as long as Israel is involved, all these nations have got a different point of view towards Israel. Houthis have also declared that they're going to have a naval blockade of Saudi Arabia, trying to choke their oil exports. For India, the worrying factor is 80% of our trade to Europe goes through Red Sea and Suez Canal. So now, with Red Sea getting blocked or becoming dangerous, we cannot afford to have our ships becoming collateral damage. The next alternative is to go via around the African continent, which is going to increase the cost of our exports. And in today's environment, I don't think India can afford to do that sort of a thing. So we are actually in a very tricky position. We have Iran on one side, who is supposed to be a friendly nation. US on one side, which is friendly, but which is imposing sanctions on us as far as financial taxes are concerned. Houthis are under actually no control of anyone. That is to be very honest. Though Iran claims that they can control Houthis, but Houthis are a law unto themselves. And we really do not know as to how Houthis are going to react to a treaty between US and Iran. Israel, in any case, is unhappy. So I don't see an immediate solution. We are landing up in a situation where India has to look at an alternate route, which is going to be a costly route. But we have to play around and figure out what is more important. Lives of our seafarers, the cost involved in exporting and importing goods from Europe, or the credibility. Like it was pointed out, it is physically impossible for the Indian Navy to escort each and every ship out of the Red Sea and into the Red Sea or Suez Canal. In fact, Suez Canal itself tomorrow could become a choke point if one of the nations decides. I wouldn't be surprised if one of the nations decides to just choke off the Suez Canal in the Mediterranean or the Red Sea. So this is becoming a flashpoint and a worrying factor for all the countries in and around that area. Unfortunately for us, within the Gulf nations, there is no unity. Superficially, some nations are with Iran, some are against Iran. Back channels, the people who are against Iran are supporting Iran, and people who are publicly supporting Iran are against Iran's. Iran's policy is also to damage credibility of US in the adjoining nations. It's a very catch-22 situation for everyone, and for us it is a worrying factor because, let us be very honest, trade, India's balance of payments, the dollar-rupee rate, it actually matters a lot to us, and we cannot afford to have a longer route. And to protect our seafarers, as of now, the only option available to us is to go the diplomatic way with all the nations around and associated with that area to ensure free passage and safe passage of Indian flagged vessels. Otherwise, collateral damage will take place, and that is something which is unavoidable. Sad but true.
Okay. Let me quickly, in fact, get a closing comment now before we end from Captain Kumar on, of course, also. Okay, I think yes, Captain Kumar is there with us. Captain Kumar, let me also, of course, ask you now also about the fact that which do you believe is the most volatile? Is it just the area close to the Strait of Hormuz, or is it now becoming that entire Red Sea region, which is becoming very dangerous, which is becoming prone to attacks going forward? Which is the most dangerous area currently in terms of that region and the waters?
Well, it's very, very important to understand most of the choke points are getting energized. The Federation of Seafarers of India has requested Indian government that Indian naval presence as a deterrence fleet at Black Sea, not even Red Sea, Bab al-Mandeb or Strait of Hormuz, even in Black Sea, because a lot of things are happening in Black Sea where the merchant ships are getting affected. State of Dardanelles and Bosphorus State, from where Turkey, from Black Sea the ships come to Mediterranean and then come to Red Sea. So these are all going on, and there are a lot of problems in all these areas. The government has, American blockade in Red Sea. When the ships were attacked, there were no takers, although we had this sympathy with the crew who died. But at the same time, our foreign minister had said in the parliament on 15th of January, we asked Indian citizens to leave Iran. Accordingly, if there is a blockade, we have to exercise caution in contested waters and warn our crew not to enter. And that's what government has done today. After protesting, there is a second thing that DGMA has been asked to request all the seafarers not to enter the contested waters like Strait of Hormuz or Bab al-Mandeb. Presently, Bab al-Mandeb is still in low category, as you asked, but the Strait of Hormuz is totally hot, and anything can happen in the Strait of Hormuz. A second point is that we must be able to exercise control in certain areas, but it is not possible at all the places. Yes, Mangalore Refinery has asked to deliver ships, and next tenders which he is getting, he's saying deliverable vessels. That means the ships which are coming from contested waters, we will not do any tendering with you. Ensure that the fuel comes directly to my port. So the routes like Bab al-Mandeb or Hormuz have to be avoided by these merchant companies from where the tenders are being floated for the new contracts. So this is how the companies are going to take on, and we have to exercise caution. Vast ocean, big naval warfare, new things to the audience and people. We wake up with the new news at naval warfare. These are new phenomena happenings. Seafarers at sea are under threat, and protection by escorted convoys has been in past, but has never been successful and in complete sense. So we have to understand this limitation and draw our strategy and tactics accordingly for utilizing our naval assets.
All right. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us. We've run out of time. Let's slip into a short break.